What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. This is a B is for Boat episode. This behind me is my Riva Tropicana. It's my 30-year-old Italian-made yacht that we bought about a year ago, and we've been using it for roughly a little more than a year. Had some really good times, but now we're gonna take a week and spend some serious time to do some real improvements on the yacht. So that's what's in store for this episode. Stay tuned. So in this episode, we're going to be going over a lot of different things. We're going to be upgrading electronics, a new sonar system for Garmin. We're going to be doing some engine work. We're going to be doing exterior work to try and shine up the side of this boat and make it look a little bit more like new, and a bunch of other different kind of maintenance upgrades and cool things like that, and just modernizing it a little bit as well. And then once we got the yacht in tip-top shape, we are going to, in the next episode, take a 2-day trip down the Columbia River. I think it's like 70 miles down the river to the ocean, and actually take this thing all the way out into the ocean. But that's in the next episode. In this episode, fixing it up. So when I bought this boat, I thought that the whole exterior is supposed to be this deep, dark red color, but it's not actually supposed to be that way, hence the name Tropicana. It's supposed to be more of a Tropicana orangey red color, and over the years, the sun has done a little bit of fading to our gel coat and brightened it up a little bit, but not too much. So if we go to a part where it doesn't catch much sun, like the front, which is under the shade all the time, you're gonna see that it's a touch darker red, but not really full, deep, crazy red. So this boat was meant to be more of a tomato soup red color. So if we wanted to change the color of the red, we'd actually have to take the boat all the way out of the water. We'd have to dry dock it, and we'd have to paint it or vinyl wrap it. Now the interesting thing there is if you start painting the boat, once the paint gets scraped off or rubbed off, say from being parked and got the fenders hitting it and stuff like that, that paint's gonna rub right through, and then the only way to fix it is another paint job, another paint job, another paint job. So it's kind of a nasty cycle. So if you can keep the gel coat is the same color all the way through, you can just buff it, clean it up, and then you're good to go and keeping the same color. So I'm happy to keep the gel coat on here, keep the red on here, and not do a full repaint. So getting started on the restoration of our gel coat, there's a couple options that we can do. You can do a compound, polish, and wax, or you can do a sand, compound, polish, wax. This test spot right here, I did this last weekend, and this is just compound and polish. And you can see that it's shinier, it's removed the oxidization, but it hasn't changed the color at all. And now it's possible that there's pretty thick oxidization on here, I don't believe it, that we could maybe sand through. So the next test spot I'm going to do is right here. I'm actually going to jump in here with 1000 grit sandpaper. I'm going to sand in a big circle, then I'm going to compound, then I'm going to polish, and we'll look at this spot versus this spot and see if there's any difference. Alright, so we finished our wet sanding test patch, and the wet sanding happened kind of on this side of it, and then this side was our other test spot that just had compound and polish. So this was wet sand, compound, and polish, and there is no difference whatsoever between this part and this part. We've got a great reflection. You can see my shoe right there, so it's shining up nicely, and that's going to help with our UV protection as well as the wax that we'll go on later. But what this tells us is that if we were to wet sand the whole boat, which is obviously a lot of boat to be wet sanding, we're not going to really gain any benefit from sanding into that gel coat. That just the heavy cut compound is enough to take out the oxidization. That's all this white, like kind of dinginess. That's enough. We can just use the polisher and polish it all out. So what we're going to be using for the side of this boat are Meguiar's products. They don't sponsor us, but they sponsor a lot of my friends, so why not? So this is an ultra cut compound. This is like, you could almost treat this like a 2000 or a 3000 grit sandpaper, probably closer to 2000 grit sandpaper. So we're going to use that on a heavy wool buffing pad, and that's going to take down a lot of this oxidization and take it out. Then we're going to use this ultra finish as our polish, so that's the second step on a different type of pad, and then that's the wax that we're going to throw on after to protect all our shininess. So it sounds like we got a game plan, and now it is time to start shining up the side of this boat. While work's going on the side, it's time to jump down and jump into the engine compartment of the boat and start doing our engine modifications as well as starting our electronics upgrades. So to do all this, we need access to the engines, and yes, we have this little hatch here, but there's some bigger hatches right there and right there that we need to get access to as well, which means taking all of our furniture off board, all of our different stuff, moving it all out of the way, and then we're going to open up those two big engine hatches. Boat looks a lot more spacious now. We have these giant, for scale, that's an Oscar down there. And these are the engines. Now, now that we've got the hatches up and we're looking at everything, we realize we need a few more things for the engine. So we're gonna actually jump into engine work tomorrow. But what we're gonna start on right now is the upgraded electronics. When we first got this boat, there was a bunch of electrical stuff in here that didn't work. So I removed it recently and 3D printed some block off. So I got a drink holder here where an autopilot system used to be. Didn't work. Phone holder here where a radar used to be and another radar. None of that stuff worked. And then this was holding our little baby Garmin. Now when we first got this boat, Garmin actually reached out to us and said, hey man, we want to help you out, get some good stuff on here. And then so I told them, hey, we're working on the boat, we're doing some upgrades, what should we run on this boat? And they provided us with this GPS map 742 XS Plus. So this is a 7-inch touchscreen and it's a chart plotter and sonar combo. So this is going to help us with the sonar and as well as, you know, letting us know where we're going. So this is going to help us out kind of in the ways that you can see on the images right here. We got our sonar is going to show us our depth, so we're going to know it's safe. We're cruising around in safe depths of water so we don't bottom out. And then the chart plotter is like GPS with a map right underneath it. It's going to tell us where we went, where we are, where we've been, and where, you know, what way we're heading and where we're going. So right out of the box, I could throw this touchscreen right here and have the GPS and chart plotter, but we want to do the sonar, which means we need to install a transducer, which goes down there. This is a through-hole transducer, also provided by Garmin, and what we do is we basically glue it into the bottom of the hole, right down there, run the wiring up to our head unit, right, that will be installed right there, and then it will send the sonar signal back up to our head unit. So what we're going to do before we officially wire everything and permanently mount everything is make sure that it works and it's happy with the transducer location that we've chosen. So we're going to do a quick mock installation. We're going to throw the transducer down there, power off of a 12-volt battery right back there. I'm going to walk the head unit over there. We're going to power it all up and make sure that the transducer is happy. And then if it is, we'll do the official installation on everything. All right, well that was fast. We're on. I guess I got to go through the configuration right now where we will not do the store demonstration. And vessel type, power boat, that's right. Alright, this is pretty cool. So we just hit this button right here. We got a split frequency and our transducer is definitely working. We temporarily actually placed it up there so it'd be in a little bit of water. It really needs to have no air pockets between the hull of the boat and itself, which is why we'll show you. That's how you install the thing anyways. So that's great, it works. It's reading 4.3 feet here, and that's how deep we actually know it is, or how not deep it is here. So perfect. Now we can go ahead and move on with the full installation. Oscar and I can't both fit down there at the same time, so I'm going to explain how we do this real quickly from up top. This is a little home for the transducer, and we glue this to the hull of the boat. So we're going to go ahead and clean and sand that location right there. And then we use marine epoxy the bottom side of this guy to the bottom. Then we fill this up with with marine coolant, so it helps keep the transducer cool, and also it's a non-toxic, nice water medium that you can use. You fill it all the way up, then you shove the transducer inside this thing till it like spills out, so it's 100% full of the coolant. Throw an O-ring in here, and then we bolt the transducer down to it, and Bob's your uncle, our transducer is installed. We also then have to route our wire away from any electrical noise, any other crazy electrical things. So we're going to route it over that wall, over that way, past the engines, then we're going to route it up into our navigation station. Well, we had a lot of trouble trying to fish the wire going through here and up into the helm. We ran into a lot of trouble, and I eventually started opening up this cupboard right here, and we found out that if I take the backing board off, we get access to all the wires in the helm. So now I could see where Oscar got stuck. This is our welding wire that we were running up, and I'll just jump in here. Oh, I can feel it right here. So I'll untangle this, and we're gonna feed it up right through that hole right there where you can see all the light, and then we'll be ready to go. Wow, Oscar, you got this thing really stuck.
Right?
Yeah, it's in there good. Oh, you fished it through a zip tie bundle, that's why. Wow, it's like really threaded the needle. This is hard to see, but we ran our wiring through and up, and you can see our sonar is working. Oh. And if we go, still learning this, hang on, charts, nav chart, to our nav chart, we can see where our boat is. We're right there, smack dab in the middle of Portland. So that's awesome. This is working great. Now we need to build a housing for this, and I've got a hole here and a hole here. I don't want to make any more holes. I don't need to make any more holes. I want this thing to land right here, and then at a good angle for the driver. It'd be optimal to put it right here, but I love all these vintage gauges. I like all the styling. I don't want to change any of that stuff. So this is a job for 3D printing.
Before anybody asks, this software is called 3D Studio Max, and it is not the right software to be doing CAD stuff like this, but it's the one I know how to use best, so, oh well. So first thing I did was I opened up my base file that had those two pink things down there. Those are the old block offs before. I set the width to be the right size so I could bolt into two of them at once, and then I connected those two together. Then I built that blue thing that you see on top. That is representative of the size of the Garmin, and then the green thing is the housing. I just built the housing around the virtualized Garmin nav, and then I thought, you know what, let's just put a phone holder right next to it. That'd be handy, wouldn't it? I had empty space anyways. Then I held my breath for about 15 hours while it 3D printed, and voila,
we have a Garmin housing. So this is a draft quality print. This is what I call it. So you can see some printing lines on the print. That's because we're printing with a large nozzle, so we can get it done in time, because 15-hour print for this. I'll do a finer quality one later on, and then we'll just swap them out later, and that'll probably be a 24-hour or longer print. So this is awesome though. Fit on the first try. Now will it fit on the boat? That's what I'm going to find out. So I'm going to take off our old Garmin mount right here where our other Garmin went, and hopefully it'll cover this entire section right here very nicely. We'll plug in the wires in the back, screw it down, should be good to go. Finalizes our install. The phone holder is great. It's at a great angle. The Garmin's at an awesome angle, directly in front of the steering wheel. I love it. I'm so happy with how this turned out. The only thing that I would like is new throttle and transmission levers, and I found a place that I can order these exact same ones, so I will order those, but it's going to take a while for them to come in. But this is just super cool, and it looks so clean and so nice. I want to thank Garmin so much, specifically Eric over at the support team, for providing us with this unit and helping us through the installation, teaching us about how it works, what we need, what we didn't need, helping us. He actually helped me spec this out specifically for our dash space and everything, and it turned out phenomenal. So huge thanks to Eric and Garmin and the support team. And I will put a link in the description if you're interested in finding a chart plotter, GPS. You know they're great for all that sort of GPS related stuff. And I'm so excited, in the next episode you will get to see us use this in full effect, so it'll be awesome. Next up is our engine modifications. We're ready to go on these. So these are our massive V6 turbocharged diesel engines in here, and when we bought them, they're smoking a little bit on startup. A lot of people said that's very normal for diesel, don't worry about it. We think that one of the issues is that maybe the turbo seals are a little old. It's definitely not losing a lot of oil, so it's not an issue. Over the entire year, we lost a very small amount of oil, which we're going to top up later. There is one other thing that we can do to help the smoking issue, which is, if you look right there, you can see that's the breather vent outlets. So they come out here from your crankcase, any positive pressure comes out here, and it comes through here. And that's very, that's oil-rich air. And so what it ends up doing is it drips the oil right there onto the air intake, and then it burns that off, and it doesn't take many drips of oil to have to produce a lot of smoke. So we're building oil catch cans. Oscar's got one right there, and what we're going to do is a 2-in-1 from the outlets right here on each engine. We're going to do a 2-in-1 T into our catch can that's going to go down there, and the catch can is a serviceable unit. We can unscrew the top anytime, and then you can dump the oil out. So basically what we're doing is we're catching the oil rather than putting it onto the air filter and burning it up. We're going to catch it in that tube, and then when that tube fills up, we can put it and we can dispose of it, we can recycle it. That's what we're gonna do, right? Yeah, so anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get these both installed right now. Got our oil tops off, and now we're gonna go ahead and fire these things up and just test, because we didn't really ever measure the amount of flow that comes out of here, so we want to make sure that those aren't too restrictive. We'll fire them up and double check. Yeah, fire in the hole. All right, they're working great. Not too much positive pressure come flying out of there.
It's pretty good. You feel a little bit coming out,
But yeah, not too much. Okay, great. We're gonna go ahead and close these hatches. That wraps up engine work. Next up, we're gonna work on some of our lighting. So this has been one of the things that has bugged me ever since we got this boat, is how tarnished and messed up these chrome pieces are. I've always wanted to have them re-chromed. We don't have time to do that right now. Also, there's like kind of gunk in the bottom of these. You can see that, so that needs to be cleaned out. So these are all damaged on the outside from weathering, but there's also some damage on the inside from the weathering that's damaging the chrome, and we really want to clean that up as well. So we're going to start out here, and we're going to take these things off, and we are going to do some treatment, some sanding. Let's see how clean we can get them. Wow, what a transformation. Look at the before and how messed up it was, and then look at the after. We used 1,000 grit sandpaper on a drill. So basically we used a headlight repair kit that you'd use to clean a headlight lens, a dulled lens. So we used, this is 800 for the really screwed up stuff, 1,000 grit. And once we got the 1,000 grit, most of it all came off, a little CLR and water for the wet sanding. And then we used a buffing pad and just a little bit of Meguiar's high cut compound, like the same stuff we used on the outside of the boat, to polish them up. And that looks really good. Well, since the ones on the outside went so well, these guys have a little bit of corrosion too around them. Be nice to get them all cleaned up. These unscrew like this, and then this piece is gonna have to be worked on inside, which will be a little tricky. And there's a lot of them. There's like about 20 of them, several in the bedroom. And then we got one of these guys we already actually took off and started working on, and this other guy right here that's similar to the outside ones. So, get them all detached, get them out on deck, get to work. We got them all cleaned up. So here's the before and the after. You can see it's like a freaking mirror. Wow, I'm really glad those cleaned up. It just really makes the boat look so much better. Fast forward a little bit, it's the weekend. I was sitting at home and I was thinking, you know what, there's one more thing I'd really like to get for this boat. So I ran down to the marine store and I was looking at anchors, and I would like to get an anchor for the back of the boat. So you have one in the front and it does a really good job. It can definitely keep us put, but sometimes with the wind and stuff, we sway back and forth. For things like fishing or just trying to make sure that we like stay put, like an overnight stay, having a rear anchor that we can drop off the back that'll keep us in line and right where we set up would be a really cool thing. So I ran down to the marine store and I saw an anchor that looked a bit like this. And the frickin' thing for a boat my size costs like almost $200. I was like, I can build one of those out of scrap steel. Now that one was made out of aluminum, but that makes it lighter. I would like it a little heavier. I think it would be better fitting for the boat size anyways. So I'm gonna put together some scrap steel and see what I can build. For the anchor, we need chain, which I happen to have lying around the shop, anchor line, which I had to buy. That cost me about 80 bucks, but it's 150 feet of anchor line, so it'll go really far. And then we want a place to put it on the boat that's not gonna look all ugly. Ran down to Joann's, got this nice little crate that we can stain to match the same stain as our furniture, and this will slide under our seat. I even measured it. So this is the dimensions in which my anchor must fit. It will go rope, chain, anchor, boom, slide it under the seat, then we pull it out when we want to use it. It's time to start building. Not a bad reproduction. Got the weight up to about 20-25 pounds, which is great. It's gonna take a little bit for this paint to dry, so I'll show you it on the boat tomorrow. All right, it's the next day. We're out of the boat. Here's our finished anchor, and you can see the idea is there's kind of sharpened edges along the sides everywhere to help it dig in, and then it has a max angle, and that max angle should help it dig in, and then it also works if you flip it the other way around. It's its max angle there. So paint's still drying up a little bit, and then all we got to do is put our 150 foot of rope on the end of our chain here, and the rope gets bundled at the bottom, and then chain and then anchor at the top, which fits in this box, but we got to stain the box, so we'll show you that when it's all done. Next up, I want to solve a somewhat persistent problem that we had with our nav lights. So we have a light here, that's our anchor light up there, a light back here, and a light over there that all didn't work, and we tried to do some voltage tests and stuff like that, and we just didn't really get anywhere. Since then, I've learned a lot about it. This is actually a 24 volt system because it's a European boat. Most of everything on here runs off of 24 volts, so we needed 24 volt light bulbs and not 12 volt light bulbs, so it just blew them when we replaced them. And then also, because it's 24 volts, the grounds and the positives are in a little bit different spot than we thought they would be, so when we went to voltage test them, we often blew the fuse. So now I know how to fix them, and I got the right bulbs. I actually got some pretty cool bulbs. They're 24 volt LED based bulbs, and they work really good. I actually tested one over there. So we're gonna go ahead and swap everything out now. I gotta go ahead and pull this unit down, take a couple bolts off, pull the unit down, and work on those. Swap out that bulb in there and the bulb in there, all for LED. Just basically upgrading all our nav lights to LED and fixing them. So this is one of our nav lights, and this is our anchor light that you turn on when you're anchored out in a river or the ocean or a lake or whatever. And it's been giving us all sorts of problems. You can see we got our voltmeter here, and we're pretty good at electrical. We've been tracing things back, and it's just been really strange, varying voltage, can't power a light, and it's weird that anyways. What we did was we finally traced it back into here, and then we found out we got a problem in here. So if I'll wiggle this bundle right here, and you can see it's turning off power to our nav lights and our anchor lights. So we know where the problem is sourced now. It's most likely in this connection's got some corrosion, so we're probably gonna hardwire a few things together. And oh yeah, this bundle looks very familiar. So we'll go ahead and rewire this up, and then hopefully that'll solve our problem back here as well. Finally, we got our anchor light and our nav light both operational. We had to do a custom wiring job on this one, so yeah, don't try and DIY a 30-year-old Italian yacht unless you got some basic electrical skills. You can see we have this like extreme wind warning going on right now, and it's actually getting pretty windy, and it's blown in all the smoke from the forest fires, so Portland looks like chaos right now, but guess that's the theme in our videos these days. So go ahead and get this thing flipped back around, installed back up there, re-siliconed in, and then I'm gonna work on the nav light back there and right behind Oscar. Time to give you guys an update on the side. So we hit this with a heavy cut compound, a polish, and then a wax. And you can see the results are fantastic. You can see the mirroring of the dock right off of the side now. And look at the before and after the change. It's just so much more shiny. It didn't really change the tone of the color at all, but it's shiny, it's reflective, it's gonna have better UV protection properties. All around, it's just such a cool refresh on that gel coat. Now we did a small test spot on the chrome as well, what would happen if we were to buff the chrome, and it actually looks really good. So what we're gonna do now is we got a couple buff pads for the drill, and we're just gonna go ahead and work from this back angle here all the way through here, and then we're gonna hit all of these portholes as well, and just give all the chrome or stainless, I'm not sure which one it is, I don't know if this is chrome covered steel or if this is just stainless steel. Anyways, we're gonna give it a little refresh. Storm is in full effect now. Everything is Well, it actually just died down as I started talking. You know how it goes. So Oscar cleaned up all this chrome around here, and it looks phenomenal. We did the portholes, all nice and shiny. Now we still have to clean the top of the boat up. We know that. We're saving that till the end, so it's all clean when we head out. So that's a really good looking refreshment as well. Chelsea stained our crate, and we got our rope in here with our chain, and our anchor fits nice and tight on top of there, and then that is going to go under our bench that I'll show you in a little bit. The only problem we're having right now is that the winds are so extreme that we actually cannot take the boat out to flip it around so we can clean the other side, which is an interesting problem. So we're gonna hit it again tomorrow and just see what we can do. All right, what's up guys? We're back for the next day, and you can see that the skies have cleared up a little bit, so the smoke from the fires has gone a different direction, but the wind is still intense and we're not allowed to flip our boat around. We've literally been told we're not allowed to go out right now. So hopefully before we have to take off, we'll be able to get and polish that other side, but if not, we'll have to just do it later, because I don't want to risk damaging anybody else's boat. That's just ridiculous. So one of the last things we wanted to do was upgrade the stereos on board. So you can see this is the tape deck in here, and actually this has really good sound, really good sound with some Alpine speakers, and some subs are definitely somewhere in here. It creates great sound, but it's old. It's got a little tape deck and doesn't have any way to Bluetooth. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that one with this deck right here. There's one in the bedroom, and we were gonna replace that one, but I thought, you know, we're never gonna use that. Like, I'm not the listen to the stereo in bed type of guy. So since today, our last day of working, we can't be on the side right now, I thought maybe we should push the plans a little bit and do something even cooler. So I ran down to the store, got some speakers, some speaker wire, and some power wire, and what we're actually gonna do is install a speaker system that we can listen to out here on the deck. The game plan is, my one requirement was I don't wanna be cutting any holes in the boat, because I just don't want to kill the value of my boat. So with that in mind, we actually found a couple spots where speakers were installed previously. There's one over there. There's one matching over there in these benches. So that's one speaker facing that way, one speaker facing that way. And I thought for this back section here, these are just plywood. We could always recreate these. Why don't we cut a hole, and they actually come in and out. Why don't we cut a hole here and install a speaker here and there? So that is the game plan. These entire seating areas are removable. There's some holes underneath where we can run wires. So we're gonna tap into the wire system that we just used with the Garmin. That's kind of the central wiring system. We're gonna tap into that. We're gonna run some power down, around, and up. We're actually gonna install the stereo inside here under my leg, and it's a Bluetooth stereo, so once I pair with my phone, get the volume set, like I can just handle all the rest with my phone and my nice little phone holder right here. So we're gonna go ahead and run power down through there into here, speaker wires underneath, across, and into there as well. One speaker going that way, one that way, one that way, one that way. Let's get to it. We finished up the stereo install, so the music you're hearing right now is coming out of there off of my phone. So we got a speaker here, it sounds even better up here, speaker over there, and then we have the speaker heading back there, and then our nice little Bluetooth deck over here. And that's really cool because I can control all the volume from my phone as well as the deck, and it's all nice and Bluetooth, hit power on, power off. So that's a pretty clean install. I'm very happy about having a nice Bluetooth setup out here now. That's gonna be pretty chill. And then we could have wired all the same speakers all the way through, but I like the idea that if somebody's in here like maybe playing a game of cards or something like that, that they have their own stereo. So over here, Kyle got the new upgraded deck installed as well. And I guess Fall Out Boy's on, but you guys can't hear that because it's copyrighted. So cool, we got Bluetooth and Bluetooth new stereo systems installed. I think it's just time to get everything put back and clean up our mess. Our construction site's looking a little messed up. Just as we're wrapping up cleaning, the ominous smoke is rolling back in, casting a shadow over the city. Sad story behind this smoke. town I grew up in is about 40, 50 miles that way, and there's a huge fire that's already taken out like 2 cities, kind of going westernly. Forced an evacuation in my hometown, so my parents are actually at my house right now, evacuated, hoping that our house doesn't burn down. So really sucks. Thoughts and prayers to everybody. Hope everybody stays safe. All right, the smoke's making everything dark, so we kick the lights on. Just doing a quick walk through. You can see that we didn't change the furniture because honestly I like the furniture. I know a lot of you guys didn't. We fixed up the chrome, got all the interior lighting work, our anchor light, our nav light coming through here. We got our stereo system installed in here and down there. We got our brand new Garmin chart plotter. I got the carpet dirty, don't tell Chelsea. And then we also did some improvements as well in here with our chroming, our chrome restoration, and our new stereo. Really felt like we did a lot more, but maybe it's just easy to summarize. But anyways, I'm very happy with the state of the boat. It's never been in better shape and more high tech and more seaworthy. So it's time to head out to the ocean. Tomorrow, which is today for you guys, we're gonna set course. So follow us, BS for Build on Instagram if you wanna see where we sink. And we're heading out down the Columbia River, 110 nautical miles, with the goal being to get into the Pacific Ocean. We're heading we're heading across the Columbia River Bar, which is known to be one of the most dangerous bars in North America. So I love me a good bar. So make sure to follow us for that. Thank you guys all so much for subscribing, for watching, and for being so patient with us to get another boat episode out. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you soon. Peace!
Come on.